So let's start with the first one, cleansing data. Actually, it will be a continuation of what we did in the previous part of the webinar, where Tim, our head of product, was showing you how you can manually cleanse data in Hull. And the specific example he showed was to find all the different job titles which are different mostly for a machine, but a human being can easily say, yeah, pretty much these are, they mean the same when the person reads them, but it's not that straightforward where you want to implement them in a segment or in a marketing campaign. So he needed to manually cleanse that. And today I'll show you a way how you can automate that process so you don't need to repeat that manual operation again and again. So let me just switch off the slides and go back to my Hull dashboard. And first, let's start by looking what data we are facing here. So I search for job title coming from a CRM. And I'll pull up all the users who have some value. And here on the right side, we can see those different values. So we have uppercase CEO, we have president and CEO, lowercase CEO, even something like chief executive officer. So to unify that and to standardize that value, I will use our processor connector. That connector is pretty special. It doesn't integrate with any specific tool. It gives you a JavaScript console. And I know some of you may be slightly discouraged by the fact that it will require some coding, but you'll see that actually it's pretty straightforward to build a simple scenario, and then I will show you even additional features of the connector that will help you make it more maintainable even for less technical people. So I'll just make sure that we know this is all the JavaScript console, that we can write some JavaScript. And here on the left side, I have a preview of a user representation inside the system. So I can scroll down and see different elements. I see some Clearbit data points, and I will see the HubSpot job title here. So that's how I can easily see what's the data I'm facing here. So let's start by defining my standardization strategy. So this will be a simple JavaScript object where I define what's my standardized value and what are the all values that should be converted into the standardized one. You can make it more, convenient for your teammates to edit that by adding some comments. But as I mentioned, I will also show you some nice way to make it more editable. Then I will drop one more function that will process that map and process the data that's on the user profile and output correct value. I won't go into more details to what's going on here. It can probably, that JavaScript function could be slightly simpler or more complex depending on your use case. But we also try to help with our customers by providing a list of snippets that will help them start with some basic code. And the last part I need to put here is how to write those results back to the user profile. So as you can see, I'm writing to a new job title attribute, and I prepend that with a unified keyword. And that's just a convention. You could call that anyhow you want, but that's something we advise our customers to do, to put that in a separate group of attributes so they can see on the user profile, okay, these are attributes computed inside Hull. They are not coming from a single service, but they are somehow computed and transformed in the meantime. Here on the right side, we have a preview of the result. So we see that this user identified by those claims will receive this attribute. And once I save that code, I can run it, and every user coming in and matching this logic here will be standardized, and it won't require any manual operation or action from my end. And that data point could be mapped out to any other connector or any other target destination service. As I said before, editing such code may not be very straightforward for less technical people. That's why in the processor settings, you can find a section called custom variables, where you can define any variable that will be injected into your code. And if you parse those variables, you can, for instance, make something like that. Let's say I will call a variable standardized job title CEO, and then in the values, I will paste pretty much the same list I had in the code, but separated with semicolons. And then you can add more stuff here. Let's say standardized job title COO, and we can start writing different values here as well. So as you can see, you can provide a basic UI. You would need to write a code that will parse those variables and apply them to your logic, but you can see it may be much more straightforward and convenient for less technical people to go to this UI and edit the values that have impact on your data transformation. So that was the first use case we wanted to show you today, how to standardize and cleanse data in an automatic and ongoing matter, and showing you also a way how to make it easier for less technical people.